Is Candace Owens cooked? Now, before you come for me in the comments section, let me just lay out what is being reported. It is being reported that Erica Kirk will address rumors that Charlie Kirk was changing his stance on Israel, that he was offered $150 million by Benjamin Netanyahu, and that he planned to convert to Catholicism before his assassination. Okay, this is what's being reported. I'm going to tell you exactly who reported this. This is from the AF Post, but I'm going to tell you exactly who reported it in a second. And these are all responses to Candace Owens, by the way, which I said, if and when Erica makes a statement, will you guys who are Team Candace acknowledge this? After my last video on Candace Owens crashing out, going nuclear yet again, I had an onslaught of comments, people telling me that, Ruslan, you don't understand. You're not listening to her. This is unfair. The tone of what you're saying is nice. You are just deflecting. You are being dismissive of her. Now, may I just subtly point out the utter hypocrisy of saying my last two videos were too mean, too dismissive, harsh tone, lying about her, taking her out of context. The idea that Candace can make these videos and I can't react to them. The idea that Candace can say whatever she wants about whomever she wants in the most weird circumstances while making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, but I can't respond to them. Do you guys understand the utter hypocrisy with regards to that sort of feedback? My riddle that I have for all you guys is, how many lies does it take before one acknowledges that Candace Owens is a liar? How many? Is it one? Is it one lie? You say one lie and you're a liar. Shout out to Living Water Ministries and the ministry they do with witnessing. One lie makes you a liar. Is it two? How many lies? I want you guys to think about that. How many lies does it take before someone is officially a liar? Because I think with regards to this Candace thing, this doesn't bring me joy to address this. I don't like making videos about this. I mean, listen, there's a clear scripture that I get to wrestle through with regards to this. And I'll tell you why I'm making this video in a second. But this is the scripture, like I got to wrestle through this, but so do all of you. So do all of you. Don't have anything to do with foolish and stupid arguments, because you know they produce quarrels, and the Lord's servants must not be quarrelsome, but must be kind to everyone, able to teach, not resentful. So in me having this conversation, I'm doing my best to not be resentful towards Candace. I really am not resentful towards Candace, but this is what I am concerned about, is that there is a segment of my audience that watches Candace and also watches me. And I am a Jesus person. I'm unapologetically a Jesus follower. And one of the things as a Jesus follower is that I have to stand on truth. And there's other people that have been affected by some of the stuff she's been saying that also watch my channel. So before I get into some of these obvious lies that I've caught her in, that again, you get to reconcile, like, is this a lie, or are you going to nuance this to death and contort it and defend her? Before I get into that, let me just say a couple positive things about Candace. I got a buddy of mine that watches Candace and watches me, and he really encouraged me. Hey, Ruslan, you got to make sure you go above and beyond and really watch the full podcast. Okay, now let me just say this. To say that I can't have an accurate assessment of her claims without watching hours and hours and hours and hours of Candace Owens is ridiculous, okay, for one. But two, let me just say this. I did. I watched hours and hours of Candace Owens over the weekend, her last several episodes on this entire Charlie Kirk debacle, right? And I have some questions for Candace, okay? I'm just asking questions here. But let me just say this. Candace is an awesome storyteller. She is an awesome storyteller. She is a great orator. She's interesting. She tells really good stories with regards to setup and every segment and the conflict and the tension. But the issue here is that as people of the book, as followers of Jesus, that truth has to be the thing that drives us beyond just interesting storytelling and just asking questions that are kind of insinuating some pretty rough things, okay? And that is my deeper concern, is that as a Jesus person, I first and primarily am driven by truth. And when I see falsehood and when I see things that are being spread that are bringing harm to people, and those of you guys that are mad at me, you have no idea who I'm connected with behind the scenes, okay? But this idea that I can't critique her is just ridiculous. And my deeper concern is, even though Candace is an amazing storyteller and a good YouTuber and a good communicator, the question is she telling stories? Is she making stuff up? Is she a liar, or is she a lunatic? And you get to sort that out. You get to sort that out amongst yourselves. But what I'm not going to have is I'm not going to have anyone bully me into not speaking about something that I see that's alarming. And here's the deeper issue. The deeper issue is that there's these extremes on both sides. Extreme number one is the far left. The system is rigged against me and everything is bad because of they, them who rigged the entire world against me. And that looks usually like railing against institutions, railing against capitalism, railing against this. And the position of that has been a victim, right? The police are bad. The institutions are bad. America's bad. That's been on the left. But on the right, we're starting to see the same thing. I call them the woke right. Same idea, railing against the systems, railing against the institutions, railing against everybody did something to you. And that's why you can't change your life. That's why you can't see the needle move. That same victim mentality is now existing on the right, and it's primarily spearheaded, as far as I'm concerned, by Candace. And there's a strong overlap between that and what I would call, on the left, we have Trump derangement system, but on the far right, we now have Israel derangement syndrome. Okay. So that is my deeper concern, is the victim mentality of consuming Candace. Because I think what Candace has done is that she's replaced the soap operas that were on TV when I was a kid and kind of packaged them with Jerry Springer. And it's amazing content. It's really entertaining. The issue is it includes real people and real issues and now widows that are grieving. And I take an issue with that. Who am I? I'm just a dude on YouTube. But I take deep issue with that. And I am going to call it the way I see it. And if that causes you to dislike me, unsubscribe, man, I am so willing and okay with that. I'm so willing to lose subscribers on this channel for being angry at me at the very thing that Candace is doing. And which, by the way, I'm not personally attacking her. I'm not calling her a demon or alluding to her being a demon the way she did with Charlie Kirk's pastor. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just pointing out the inconsistencies in her story. And before you ask, no, I have never been paid by Israel. I have never taken a dime from Israel. I don't plan to ever be paid by Israel. No, absolutely not. And before you ask, yes, I have asked Candace for a debate years and years ago and repeatedly would love to have a debate with her in person, not on Pierce Morgan, where she can gish gallop and scream over me, but an in-person debate. I would love to have a debate with her. And thirdly, you should absolutely buy my brand new book, Godly Ambition, to help you deprogram yourself from some of the brain rot we're seeing on the far right with the Candace that makes you feel like a victim and makes you feel like you can't do anything, you can't get ahead because the Jews are after you and it's all the jujitsu that's messing up the world and they're in everything and there's a secret cabal and they're getting in the way of you doing what you want to do with your life. Yes, you should absolutely get Godly Ambition to help you with that. That's available now. Bestseller on Amazon. Pick it up. And you know what the sad part is that I even have to acknowledge and say, no, I've never taken a dime from Israel. Israel's not funding me, so on and so forth. And you know what the also sad part is? Some of you guys are going to be mad at me for talking about my own book on this video while ignoring the dozens of brand integrations that Candace has on her last several Charlie Kirk videos. Again, the hypocrisy here is just next level. I can't. I can't even acknowledge how ridiculous this is. Okay, let's get into the what's happening. Okay, so this broke. This is from the AF Post. Erica Kirk will address rumors that Charlie Kirk was changing his stance on Israel, claim made by Candace and Tucker Carlson and others, that he was offered $150 million by Benjamin Netanyahu, claim made by Candace. I haven't heard Tucker or anyone else make this claim, and that he planned to convert to Catholicism before his assassination next week on Turning Point. Claim made by Candace. And Tucker said that he was flirting or liked Eastern Orthodoxy, which, listen, I like Catholicism. I like Eastern Orthodoxy. I love your guys' churches. I think you're beautiful. I love your art. That doesn't mean that I'm converting. That doesn't mean that I'm even remotely thinking about any of this stuff. I just appreciate art and beauty. So people were like, AF Post, this is fake, because I put this up on X. Well, let's see where this came from. So this is a lady named Christine Jurgen. Christine is someone that is going to be doing Turning Point's show next week. And this is what she said regarding Erica and what's potentially coming down the pipeline. Okay, so let's check this out.
Those tribute episodes, they're going to come out Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday next week. We are going to address everything. Charlie's thoughts on Israel, if he was offered $150 million in hush money, how him and Erica handled disagreements, what his vacations were like with his family, if he was in the process of converting to Catholicism, his last week on Earth, his last hours on Earth, if Erica feels good about the suspect who was arrested, and his thoughts on education and so much more.
So this might even be out by the time you guys are watching this video, okay? So Erica is going to come out. Now, before I get into some of my questions for Candace, as I'm just asking questions, let's look at some of the things that I think she's, in my opinion, again, how many lies does it take? In my opinion, caught red-handed lying. Okay, you get to, you can nuance this to death, or you could just say, Ruslan, I think my eyes are starting to open that someone who is claiming to be a Christian, someone that is saying things that everyone on Charlie's team is disagreeing with, someone that has made the biggest videos she's made, not this year, not this week, not this month, but of her career on YouTube, are of Charlie Kirk. This is a video, her biggest video ever. So if you go to her YouTube channel, okay, and you click popular videos, the biggest videos she's made are here, 5.9 billion views, and then mine notes. But if you go here and look in her live tab, her most popular video is not her tribute to Charlie Kirk, which I think is beautiful. It's her, it's called They Are Lying About Charlie Kirk with Benjamin Netanyahu in it, right? So her number one video, with just within 5 days, is this video about Charlie Kirk, Benjamin Netanyahu. Her number 3 live stream, 5.4 million views, is also that. So before you come after me and say, Ruslan, what is your motivation? Perhaps you should channel that same energy to her. Her most popular videos, with, by the way, tons of brand integrations. 3 of her most popular videos are all about Charlie Kirk and this idea that there's a secret plot and what they're not telling us and the cabal, right? And if you keep going, there's another one. Okay, there's another one. So you count the brand integrations, you count the views on this. Likely Candace is made 7 figures off of this already, or on the way to make 7 figures, okay? With regards to how CPMs work, how much she's getting paid per brand integration, ballpark. She's on her way, at least hundreds of thousands of dollars. So before you come after me, examine that. Now let's look at the first lie that I think she's obviously caught in. And again, I don't know how you're gonna nuance it. There's one that's even, we got paperwork here, okay? Paperwork party, we got paperwork here. So let's look at the first one. This is her on Tucker Carlson after she was sued by the First Lady of France for claiming she's a man. Okay, which by the way, Donald Trump has called her and said not to say that. That's not true. He thinks that's a woman. So this is what she said to Tucker Carlson.
I think they're banking on us dismissing it. I think one of 2 options.
What does that mean?
You can at first file to dismiss the case because you're going, hi, we have the First Amendment right. This is crazy.
So remember, she says they're banking on them dismissing it under the First Amendment right. She's not saying that she has a right to say this accurately because it's true. She's going to be hiding behind, well, this is my Second Amendment right to say this and monetize off of propagating that the First Lady of France is a man. Her First Amendment right. So it's not that what she said is true, it's that she shouldn't have to take it back because it's her First Amendment right to lie about someone, okay? And she's saying we could dismiss it. Now, just pay attention closely.
Going, hi, we have the First Amendment right. This is crazy. It's coming from Paris. I mean, like, why on earth would we honor this at all? Secondly, it's like, are we really going to allow the French president to come in here and like stifle my right to speech? I think they want us to dismiss it.
So you're not going to try to have the case dismissed?
I certainly do not want to have the case dismissed.
I certainly do not want to have the case dismissed.
Yeah, and so we're having these
discussions. I just want to linger on this for a moment, having been around a lot of lawsuits. I've never heard anybody say, I don't want a well-funded case against me to be dismissed.
It's how I feel. And the reason that I feel that way truly,
amazing.
Tucker, is because this is
serious.
so much bigger.
Candace Owens seeks dismissal of Macron defamation lawsuit in Delaware. Why is she seeking a dismissal? Owens' lawyers have filed a motion to dismiss, arguing the case should not be heard in Delaware and that defending it there would cause financial hardship. So she said, I don't want to dismiss it, but this is light, by the way. I got more paperwork for you guys. This is light. Like, I got actual court cases. So 1, she's saying that the court should dismiss it because it's going to be a financial hardship. Well, of course, you're getting sued for tens of millions of dollars. 2, she's saying that this is going to impede on her First Amendment rights. This is reported by Politico, a spokesperson made for Candace, slams the Macron's suit as foreign government attacking the First Amendment rights of an American independent. So she said she's not going to dismiss it. She's going to take this court. Yet they filed a motion to dismiss it. Is that a lie? Is that a lie? Well, maybe she felt like she didn't want to dismiss it, but her legal counsel filed the motion to have it. Well, you get to sort that out. But I got another one. Let's look through this one, though, first. Candace Owens is not shutting up, the spokesperson said in a statement. Candace repeatedly requested an interview. Why would you sit down with Candace Owens if you're the First Lady of France? Instead of offering a comment, Bridget is resorting to try and bully a reporter into submission. In France, politicians can bully journalists, but this is not France. It's America. Candace will address everything on her show today where she will continue to express her First Amendment rights. Why are they filing a dismissal? They argue the case should not be heard in Delaware, even though that's where LLC is, and so on and so forth. So it's like they're filing it on a technicality, while Owens' business is there. For non-convenience, this legal doctrine asserts that the court is an inappropriate venue for the trial, and it would cause substantial financial and operational hardship. I think that's kind of the point. And for freedom of speech, Owens and her team have framed the case as a matter of free speech. Okay, so let's just say she didn't want to, and what she said to Tucker Carlson is true, but her legal counsel, maybe her husband, mysterious, worth hundreds of millions, going to be worth billions soon, and I got more questions for that. But let's just say that's all true. Let's just say that's all true. Now, here is another thing that I caught her in just this week. So again, how many lies does it take? Check this out. This is I don't know how you get around this one. So listen closely to what she says. This is from several days ago. Exclusive, another photo of Tyler Robinson, which, by the way, the receipts she presents in this photo of Tyler Robinson, she couldn't even confirm if it was really Tyler Robinson's. But let's just look at this.
On top of that, talk about a federal operation
Talk about a federal operation. So remember, in light of Charlie Kirk, she is saying this is a federal operation. What's a federal operation? The conspiracy to take out Charlie Kirk, or what? I don't know. She's not being clear. Okay, but in this video, the receipts that she had was a picture of Tyler Robinson at a ice cream shop that she couldn't even verify was true. But let's let her cook. Let's let her cook.
Hate me forever. That's totally fine. On top of that, talk about a federal operation. Out of nowhere, Brigitte Macron just lies. I don't even know how they got this in the press. This is so dumb. Brigitte Macron comes out and says they have offered scientific evidence to the U.S. court to prove that Brigitte is a woman. That's what her lawyer says. Well, the lawyer's a liar because we haven't even started this case yet.
Okay, so in the process, they're sending her stuff to get her to stop saying that. What are they sending her? They're sending her pictures of Brigitte as a girl. They're sending her pictures of Brigitte pregnant. They're sending her pictures of stuff to show and prove that this is a woman. You keep saying she's a man. But listen closely to what she says next.
How could you have offered scientific proof to a court to prove you're a woman, especially because you're not suing me over the claim that I said you were born a man?
We all heard it. You're not suing me over the claim that you were born a man. That's what Candace said. Listen closely. We have to be in the same reality here, friends. If you're a fan of Candace Owens, you got to be in the same reality with me. Listen closely to what she said.
Woman, especially because you're not suing me over the claim that I said you were born a man. You were born a man. Oh, I guess you're born a boy, a male is what I should say. You're born a male, and you've never sued anybody for making that statement. You sue for things around it. You're suing me because you're saying, well, you said I stole the identity from my sister. I'm not a thief. You've never sued anybody for the claim that you were born male.
Okay. How many lies does it take to admit and acknowledge that Candace is either a liar or a lunatic? Well, I got paperwork. Guys. When we go to the lawsuit, which, by the way, I'll link this below. This is the actual lawsuit filed in the state of Delaware. And on the second page, in black and white, it says Candace Owens, LLC, and Georgetown Inc. endorsed, repeated, and established a series of verifiably false and devastating lies about the Macrons on which this complaint is based. Now, if Macron dated the president of France when he potentially was still a student, all that's weird. I don't like that. And that's not an endorsement of that. But this is what Candace claims. Candace claims that's not why she's being sued. What does the lawsuit say? What does the paperwork say? Black and white. Well, it says that these outlandish, defamatory, and far-fetched include that Miss Macron was born a man, stole another person's identity. So yes, she's suing you for also saying that she stole someone's identity. But primarily, the leading thing in this document, which you read it for yourself, you use your brain. Every single person here, all you Candace Owens stands, read this for yourself. Why is she being sued? These outlandish, defamatory, and far-fetched fictions included that Miss Macron was born a man, stole another person's identity, and transitioned to become Brigitte. Miss Macron and President Macron are blood relatives, so she's also accusing them of incest. President Macron was chosen to be president of France as part of the CIA-operated MKUltra, a program of similar mind control. And Miss Macron and President Macron are committing forgery, fraud, and abuses of power to conceal these events. The second page of the official document is saying this. But let's look at it some more. All I got to do is just read search for the word repeated. And I read a lot of this document. You can read it. I'm going to pin it up below. Owens established a series and related ex posts with reckless disregard. Owens was repeatedly presented with credible, verifiable evidence disproving her claims, including documentation, public records, and direct outreach from the Macrons. Instead of correcting the record, she doubled down. At times, Macron had won French defamation claims against others who pushed these useless theories, underscoring both their falsity and defamatory sting. Owens knew this. So there was another lawsuit. The lawsuit she won, but then it got overturned, and they're actually still pursuing that lawsuit. in terms of her being a man by other French bloggers. Owens knew this, yet Owens, fully aware of the truth, has not only declined to retract her statements, she has actively repeated them. On July 1st, 2024, Owens repeated her false claims in an episode, encouraging viewers to reject scientific findings in favor of following their gut, or in this case, Candace Owens' gut. Here it is again, page 19. Despite the inflammatory and demonstrably false nature of many of her public statements, Owens' audience has continued to grow. And it says, Owens repeats the outlandish claim that this is even highlighted. Like, I don't know how do we do this? This is highlighted in big old bold. Owens repeats the outlandish claim that Bridget Macron was born a man on the Daily Wire precisely because she knew its shock value and boosted her visibility. Here it is again. In March 2024, just prior to her departure from the Daily Wire, Owens began promoting the false claim that Mrs. Macron was a man. On March 11, Owens published an episode on the Daily Wire podcast, Candace Owens, in saying this is the biggest political scandal in human history, which reported on Bridget Macron's conspiracy theory that was making its way through the courts in France. Owens was the first to bring this theory to the United States media and global audience. The same day, defendants announced this video on X post repeated that this is the biggest scandal. So she posted it on X. So again, Owens claimed she learned this theory from a 2021 debunking story published by Daily Mail. Owens falsely claimed the article was decent despite its being published more than 3 years ago. So that's the court filings. Clear as day, that is what she is being sued for. That is what the complaint is on the first page. How do you reconcile that? How many lies does it take before you can acknowledge that Candace Owens is either a liar or a lunatic? And I'm just asking questions here for you guys. So here's some other questions I have. How much money did Candace Owens make in the last week off of insinuating that Israel offered Charlie $150 million in hush money? I'm curious, how much money? I'm just asking, how much money did Candace make, considering she's gotten tens of millions of views with brand integrations? How much money? Is it hundreds of thousands of dollars? Is it seven figures? So that's my question. My other question is, what is Candace Owens' relationship and what is her husband's relationship with Andrew Tate, who, by the way, she gave the most softball interview I've ever seen in my life. What is their relationship and what's the connection there? I'm just curious. I'm just asking questions.
You and Candace went to Romania with Andrew Tate. Candace interviewed Andrew Tate.
Long time.
I know, it's been a very long time.
You've known Andrew Tate for a number of years. You were just with him for that interview.
Yeah, I've known Andrew for many, many years. I've known Andrew since before Andrew was Andrew. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I've known Andrew since before he was famous, I guess. Andrew is a great guy. He really is.
Candace consistently rails against adult content, which I do as well. Yet she had a conversation with Andrew Tate and she lied about why Andrew Tate was being arrested and what the actual filings were, specifically trafficking girls to do adult content. I'm just curious. What is Candace's relationships with Qatar? Is she being funded by Qatar? Is there some sort of backdoor deal to bring more disruption to the state of affairs in the United States by Candace and Qatar? I'm just asking questions. When was the last time Candace had a psychological evaluation? When was the last time she had a psychological evaluation? I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions. So the scriptures in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 11 says, have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. It is shameful to even mention what the disobedient do in secret, but everything exposed by the light becomes visible, and everything that is illuminated becomes a light. Some of you guys have no problem with Candace Owens alluding to the most heinous things with regards to Charlie's own wife maybe not being able to speak and maybe not being in control.
Erica is in like full control. I would hope she's in full control, but I don't know because I'm hearing some stories about donors that are pushing things.
Anyone that's pushing back and just asking questions about the questions Candace is asking is demonized and is told, hey, your tone is not nice enough. You're just denying all of her claims. You're being dismissive of her. Again, the hypocrisy is outlandish. Now, here's the reality of the situation. There's a concept in philosophy, and I wish more people just took logic in philosophy. And this isn't an absolute statement, but it is a good principle to live by. There was a medieval philosopher in the 14th century named William Ockham. And William Ockham was influenced by guys like Aquinas, by Aristotle, and different schools of philosophy. He didn't come up with this idea, but he kind of made it popular, and it's since been coined Occam's razor. To put it simply, Occam's razor is a problem-solving principle, not law, that the simplest explanation for a phenomenon is most likely the one to be true. Instead of adding complex, unnecessary assumptions to a theory, the principle recommends cutting out all of the extra stuff to try and get to the simplest explanation of what happened. Hence the razor. You're cutting out all the extra fluff and you're just trying to get to what is the simplest explanation. Now, this is not an absolute truth, but it is a principle in logic and philosophy. And so let me put it this way to you. If you live in New York City near a train station and you're sitting down and you're hearing rumbling that is shaking your apartment, what is the likely explanation? That there is a herd of horses running across your urban New York City street, or that it is a train going by. Okay. Now, is it possible that there is a herd of horses that is running by New York? It's possible, but the simplest explanation is that there's a train next to your apartment, and that is the rumbling that you're hearing. So I want you to think about this. We live in a highly polarized, charged society that has extreme rhetoric all pervasive throughout it. And Charlie Kirk was someone who stood on the idea that it is important to debate these things. And in that, sometimes he would have very charged up moments and views that pockets of society believed were quote unquote harmful and dangerous, specifically with the transformer community. In light of his views on that and a view on pockets of the far left that words are violence and silence is violence, and specifically that if you don't affirm a specific kind of lifestyle, that you are then responsible when those types of people self-delete themselves. Therefore, you are waging an actual genocide against that community. Well, if that's true, and that's the spirit of the air of what's being said, would you rather have an alive son or a dead daughter, right? This is the stuff that's coming out. This is the way this is being framed. So in light of all that, what's the simplest explanation? That a deranged lunatic who bought into some far left ideology and was dating a furry that came from a home where he knew how to use a firearm was the one who took out Charlie? Or that a multinational blackmail ring by Benjamin Netanyahu in cahoots with folks in Charlie's own team, with cahoots of our own government, plotted this assassination attempt because Charlie was a bit harsher with regards to not being able to speak out when Israel does something wrong. Oddly enough, still being wildly supportive of Israel. What's the simplest explanation? I'm not saying it's absolutely true. I'm just saying, what is the simplest explanation? You see, the root of this and why I'm really concerned about this, and I'm not going to shut up about it, is I think that we as a generation of people that grew up and seeing these sorts of things over and over, seeing people on social media, seeing these things, I think we're actually a traumatized generation that have seen way too much. And in that, I think that creates this cognitive distortion rooted in being traumatized that defaults to black or white, all or nothing thinking. It is much easier to see all of this as one big farce. All the official narrative, it's just too simple. So we're going to create this idea of all these questions and inquiring about all these things in the name of just asking questions while insinuating some pretty wild stuff. That is where we're at. And my heart with this is not to just dunk on Candace. Notice I haven't personally attacked her. I haven't said anything about her looks. I haven't said anything about her as a person. I'm speaking about the things that she's talking about. But I think she wields a lot of influence to a generation of people that's chronically online, traumatized from all the stuff we've seen, and then slide into black or white, all or nothing thinking with regards to these conspiracies at the harm of not just Israel, which is, again, Israel derangement syndrome, I think is a real thing, but now at the harm of people directly connected to Charlie Kirk, specifically his executive producer, folks on his team, the way she spoke about his pastor, insinuating that he was demonic, so on and so forth. Now to the point where grieving widow Erica Kirk is seemingly going to have to respond to the claims that Candace has made. I think this is a really crazy time. And in my opinion, anyone who's continuing to watch Candace is enabling this dysfunction. I understand it's an interesting soap opera meets Jerry Springer moment. I understand she's a good storyteller, but now she's telling stories that are actually impacting people's lives. And my question to you is, how much does it take? How many lies does it take before you can acknowledge that Candace is either a liar or a lunatic? Now, the idea of liar or lunatic, I actually got it from C.S. Lewis. And he used that as a retort to argue for Jesus, that with Jesus, you only get three options: liar, lunatic, or Lord. And the good news is we have a pathway to be in relationship with a God that claims to be the truth, that he doesn't just have to ask questions, that he doesn't have to insinuate anything, that he doesn't have to make viral videos about about people being born a man, despite all the evidence showing the opposite, about someone that they were close to and having all of these videos insinuating some pretty crazy stuff that the team and the spouse is disagreeing with. And by the way, the next theory that we're starting to see propagated by Ian, who's close to Candace and often hosts her show, is now Erica's in cahoots. Like how much of this are we going to keep dealing with? But the good news is that there's a Jesus out there that is not a liar and is not a lunatic. And the argument is that Jesus, you get three options. Either he's a liar, either he's a lunatic, or he's Lord. And if Jesus is Lord, that means that Jesus's ways about going about this have to trump our instincts, our gut, just asking questions, and actually look back and say, how would Jesus be handling this? If Jesus is Lord, how would Jesus be navigating the situation? Would he be poking and prodding to just ask questions in the midst of a grieving widow, grieving friends? Was that how Jesus would be going about it? I don't think so. And by the way, there's a report from Laura Loomer that is saying that the reason why Turning Point hasn't officially responded is because Blexit, which is what Candace Owens founded, is actually under Turning Point and they legally can't respond. I don't know if that's true, but that's something that's being put out. So anyway, I want to hear from you guys. Leave me more nasty comments. Ask me more about if I'm being funded by Israel or not. Keep going down this rabbit hole, but you're not going to get me to stop speaking about this situation. If I see the need to keep speaking about this, and I don't want to make any more videos about this. I'm kind of tired of it, but I do think that there's a pocket of people on the far right that are sliding into the same type of rhetoric I've heard on the left, and that to me is gross. And if I see the need to speak about it, whether that's Nick Fuentes, whether that's Candace Owens, whether that's Tucker Carlson, I'm going to say something about it. And by the way, I would love to have a conversation with all these people in person. In person. I'll go to any of them, have this conversation, but they won't talk to me. But I would love to do it. I would love to do it. And so if I see the need to do that, I'm going to do that. That's not going to be the lion's share of my content. That's not the point. I really wish all you guys would go watch the Forrest Frank Corey Osbury video. A beautiful conversation about reconciliation amongst brothers. I really wish you would do that, because that's really what I want to be talking about. But right now, I'm going to hit pause, and I'm going to lean into some of the stuff I'm seeing, because I think it's harmful. I think it's dangerous. I think it's dangerous for people to consume. I don't think it's like her words literally dangerous. I think it's dangerous for people to consume and marinate this and what it does to your brain and how cooked you are if this is the lens you start seeing the world through. That is my deeper concern. Okay, so if my tone isn't perfect, extend the same grace to me that you've repeatedly extended to Candace Owens. How about that? All right, and check out this Corey Osbury Forrest Frank conversation. You want something wholesome, you want something positive, you want something to be. This is what the lion's share of my content is. Check it out over here. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.